Okay, so today is the last day of January, and I have a horrible, horrible cold that I keep thinking is getting better, but then I wake up the next morning and I feel horrible. Last night I went to bed and I had 101.8 fever. Then when I woke up this morning, my temperature is perfectly normal. And then about a half hour ago, my temperature started going back up. So I think, well, I'm not sure if I'm going to get better or not. So I thought, well, I have a burst of energy right now. I'm going to see if I can film the video for our next project in our art. Also, when I talk too much, I start coughing. And my throat gets really dry. So I'm going to try and keep this chit-chat to a minimum. And if you see that there's a lot of broken up spaces, it's because I started hacking and I had to edit. All right, before I get into the actual project that we're going to do, I'm sure a lot of you already know about the big clearance that's going on over at Hobby Lobby. The only thing I was really interested in was their inks, because I never buy them because they're too expensive. They're anywhere from $5 to $6, $7, and I'm not going to pay that much for, what is it, half an ounce or something of ink. But a lot of individuals had videos showing that they were just over $1 each. So I was so excited. I went. Mine weren't marked down. A few days later I went. Mine still weren't marked down. My husband went yesterday. They still aren't marked down. So I don't know. Maybe our store just isn't going to mark them, and I'm going to miss out on the whole thing. But anyway, focus on the positive. Look what I did find. This was, this came together. It is metallic colored pencils. There's 12 different colors. And it came with this super duper journal. Look how neat. It has all these black pages. And I love it. I love black and white. And so I thought what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this into a glue book, I think, with a lot of neat black and white photographs that I've collected. And I think it'll add a lot of drama to put them in a black background. So that's what I'm going to do with this. Now, and I don't know if this is real leather or not. Probably not. It feels like leather, but I honestly don't think it is. But let's just pretend it is. But anyway, there was 2 of them, so I got the 2. And the original price was $14.99, so it must not be a real leather. $14.99, but it was on sale for $3.74. So I thought that was a pretty good deal, even though I didn't get my inks, but that's still a pretty good deal, right? And then I already took the paper off, but this was a double pack that they had there. And these 2 were together. Each pack costs each pack costs $9.99. But together, they only cost me $3.25. So that was a pretty good deal. Now, the reason I got it was because it says 50-pound weight. And now your average copy paper is anywhere from, what, 20 to 24, something like that. So this is double that of a regular copy paper. And I really liked how some of my Echo Dine has come out on just regular copy paper. So I thought, wow, this will be a little bit better because it's a little heftier. And for that amount of money, I couldn't pass it up. So I got that. The only other thing I got that was like paper related is this. And to tell you the truth, I had never even noticed this in the store, but I guess it's been there for a while. It's by the Paper Studio, And they had various styles hanging there. It's regular $5.99, and it was for $1.50. And it's 14 inches this way and 20 feet. And it's a botanical, and most of you know, I really love my botanicals and my bugs. So I thought this was a pretty good deal, and I liked it for $1.50. So I think I'm going to use this in the next project that we're going to do. The next project is going to be relatively simple compared to the first one we did. As I mentioned before, that first one was pretty complicated, only because, and I did it first, only because we had to do it in the back of the book. And sometimes if I ask you guys to do something, not realizing why I ask you to do it, sometimes you don't do it. And then when we would get to that project, then you wouldn't have the back of the book to work on because you've done other crazy stuff to it. So I thought, well, instead of, frustrating you, let's just start with the one in the back that we can't avoid. All right, so this one that we're going to do, it's, like I say, it's pretty simple. All you're going to need is your choice of craft paint, which I happen to choose in the example one, I happen to choose black, but you can use any kind you want. And then the other thing that you're going to need is some kind of glue that when it dries, it's clear. So whether you choose, any type of a liquid glue, or if you use you could also, if you have silicone glue, you could use that. Basically anything that will give a little lift to it and dry clear. This tends to kind of spread and get a little flat, but if it's the only thing you have, you can put multiple layers and it will build up and it will do just fine. But because I don't have a lot of time, because I'm on my deathbed right now, I decided to just go for the Forever Friendly hot glue, because it dries real quickly and it dries clear. So this is what I did with this technique. And it's endless what you can actually do with it. But the two that I showed you here is, after you put the glue on, you paint the whole thing. And then where it's raised, if you want it to be another color, you can come in and highlight those colors. So I painted, no, excuse me. I'm okay, don't worry. I'm going to show you an example. Don't go by what I'm saying because I'm all messed up. First thing I did was I made the design with a pencil. Then I did the design with the hot glue. Let it dry. Painted it black. And then came back if I wanted to highlight anything with a different color. What I did with this was very similar. I did the design with a pencil. Then I did the hot glue. Painted it black. Then I came back with a, yeah, you know what I mean, wet wipe type thing. Oh, and then I wiped it clean so that you could see through. And so you can see, I hope you can see it here in the video. You can see through it, and you can see the text that was in the page. All right? So that is the look. Now, I put it on both sides of the page, and so far, it's not sticking. But be mindful of that, because maybe if you're, when you put your paint, make sure you don't have like a gloss, high gloss paint, because a high gloss paint, as you all know, anything high gloss tends to get kind of sticky. So I would, even though I did use metallics, it's not sticking. I'm kind of surprised. I thought I had made a mistake, but it hasn't stuck yet. So, anyway, this is our practice book. So, it may or may not work with certain types of paints. But so far, this is holding up just fine. I did this practice one like about 2 weeks ago. and it's not sticking to each other or anything. Okay, so for the example one that I'm going to show you how to do, let me plug in my gun. Okay, so that's plugged in. And I think what I want to do, first let's glue some pages together. I think this time, because they aren't going to be so thick, I'm just going to go ahead and do it with the glue stick. And I would suggest what I did with this, I've got 3 pages here glued together, and it makes it pretty substantial. So that's what I would suggest you do, is for each side. Now remember last time we did this, I used the Mod Podge, which you can do that too. I'm just letting you see that you can do it different ways. Okay, it's 2 pages. I need to put a little marker so I know where it is. It's 2. That's the best way to let it lay flat, is just close it completely. Oh, that's it. Hurry, I'm trying to tear it apart. Oh my goodness. Okay. Very good. Okay, so we have the 3 there. And now we'll do the 3 on the other side. I thought if I wait till I'm better to do this, we're going to be back into March again. Oh, gosh. See, I have really bad allergies. So even when I get a simple cold, it's not simple no more. It's like heavy duty. Because it just gets cut in my chest. So I did get checked to make sure it wasn't the flu, so that's a good thing. But so I must have looked pretty pathetic, because when I got up this morning, my husband had cleaned up the whole kitchen, and I swear, you know, I think he's got an allergy against the kitchen, because he's just not the kitchen kind of guy, unless it's, you know, scavenge for something to eat. So I thought, wow, I must have really looked bad last night. He must have figured, oh, if she wakes up, she'll be happy. And if she doesn't wake up, at least he's got a clean kitchen. Okay. So we have our 2 pages to work on. Now, to show you, I explained to you how I did this, right? I just drew a little picture, did this, let it dry, painted it. But to show you there's a different way of doing it, because there are so many, I'm sure you're all going to come up with different ways, and it'll be fun and exciting. But I'm going to take some of this paper, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out a few of these pieces, glue it on here, and then go over that with this, and then that's what's going to be exposed after I paint it, if that makes sense. We'll do it together. This might be kind of a long video, but it's not, you know, be like in, 20,000 parts like the last one was. We'll be able to do it all in one video, she said with confidence. Okay. Where does this repeat? Okay, this starts to repeat about right here. Let me cut this. It'll be easier to work with. Okay. Now, if you have pretty napkins, this would work too. If you put down part of the napkin on there. Really anything, or a painting that you have that you've done yourself. Okay. And remember, you don't have to fussy cut this, because the only part that's going to show is what you put the glue over, the hot glue over. So here, if I just put the hot glue on this, that's the only part that's going to show. So you don't have to fussy cut stuff. Unless you don't want this edge showing, because when you paint it all black, you will see. If I had the energy, I might fussy cut it, but I don't have the energy. So we're going to go au naturel. Okay, I have another one of those. Let me get another one of those. I'm not usually into symmetrical things, but let's go for it. So we have another one of these. Maybe if I... Maybe if I act real sick tonight, my husband might do something else for me. What do I need done? Okay, I've been busy coughing and sneezing, so I just turned it off. But I did cut some of these out, and I glued them onto the page. Then I thought, I have some cute bug stamps. So I thought I'd put a couple of the bug stamps. I don't want the little, oops, sun's coming over. I don't want the flowers to get too cocky, No bugs. Okay. Oh, look how cute already. There's something about a well-placed bug, right? Alright. Let me get one other kind. Let's see. Here's the anatomy of an ant. And I think that would do well. Right there. Yes. Oh, lovely, lovely. And one more. Natural history. Because that's what this is. Alright, and where will I put that? Because you got to remember, it's going to be scenes, so I guess that's going to have to be like the new title. The rest will be covered up. Yeah. And let's just make it match the other side. Okay, I think that's it for my stamping. Alright, so then the next thing we do is anything you want to be visible on your page. This is when you start doing the hot glue. Alright, so I hope I can do this without, finish this before I start sneezing. Okay, so I want this to show. And you know, you might have some wrinkles and bumps and all that, but hey, who cares? It's part of art, right? Maybe it'll self-level, I'm not too sure. Oh, that looks cute already. Alrighty. Keep in mind now, everywhere you put the glue, you're going to see it. Unless you don't like it and then you end up painting over the glue. Then why do it at all? Alright. I'm getting bubbles, I'm not sure why. Do the bubbles go away? I've never seen bubbles before. That's weird. Oh well. Well, we're going to find out together, aren't we? Okay. Okay. Back from the hacking section. Alright, these dried and the bubbles are still there. And this has never happened to me before. So, I decided, well, if this had been a underwater scene, this would have been perfect, right? All the little bubbles. So I thought I'd be a little smart aleck, and I stamped a fish and put a few bubbles, but I changed the glue stick that I had there because it was running out, and did my stamp, put the glue over it like you're supposed to, and look, no bubbles. So for some reason, the glue stick I had in there, they all came out of the same bag. I don't understand it. This did not have any bubbles. So I don't know what to tell you. There's no rhyme or reason. So the irony is these plants are above ground. They have the bubbles. The fish is supposed to be in the water. It has no bubbles. But, you know, this is what makes art fun, right? You go with the flow. Now you have a little story to tell with your page. And that's the way it goes. Alright. So, these are all dry now. And the next step that we would do is we'd go ahead and we would paint. Now what I'm going to do is my background, I've just decided to keep it basic, and I'm going to do it all black so that these will really stand out just for the benefit of the camera, so you know we can all kind of see what's going on at the same time. Do I have any? I gotta find some scratch paper here that I can put on the side. Okay. So it doesn't get all over my book. And depending on the color you're going to do this with, excuse me, and the quality of the paint, you might have to do, whoops, now my camera's going all over the place. Sorry about that. Okay. Like I was saying, depending on the quality of your paint, which I use pretty much just cheap paint. And it doesn't matter if you get it on there because it will wipe off. So you can let it overlap. It won't hurt anything. Whoa, I missed a bunch of spots, didn't I? It's good to turn it upside down so you can see what you miss. Okie dokie, Finokies, I'm back. Alright, so I let the paint dry, and then I took my jelly roll, my white, and then I have a book here, because these are my favorite books that have different pictures of flowers and stuff, and so I took a lot of the names of flowers and just scribbled them on there with the white pen. And then I had to give a little section for my fish so it could feel like it had a place to go. But anyway, I think this is a good exercise because when you learn something, really how much do you learn if when you're shown something it works every time? And then when you try it and it doesn't work, you just get frustrated. This at least shows you that it does not always react the same each time. So it may not be you at all. Because obviously I've done it several times. It never bubbled. So I'm not going to take the blame for the bubbles because it's never done that before. So all I can figure, it was either the temperature of the glue gun, or the stick itself was maybe old or different, or I don't know what. because it was just being put on paper, which I've done that 100 times, and it's never done the bubbles. So you want to be mindful when you do this that as soon as you start seeing the bubbles aren't going to go away. Most of these right here, they kind of sort of went away. One or two stayed here. But basically, they all stayed. And it looks pretty nasty. But then when I changed the glue stick and did this one, look, no bubbles. That's how all of this should have looked. It all should have looked clear and clean like this. So this will help you appreciate that when you try it, if something messes up, it doesn't necessarily mean you're doing it wrong. It just means that one of the components, or maybe several of the components, are different and they're reacting differently. But at least you've learned a new technique. You know it does work. And if it's not a problem if you're not going to want it to see through, because if you're going to paint it over, actually all these indentions and these little potholes and pits really look pretty cool, because when you go over it with a different color, it makes it kind of an antique-y look to it. So I don't mind that at all, but that was not my intention. But here shows you a real simplified version, which I should have stuck with that. And then something I was trying to make a little more what? A little more exciting, maybe? It was exciting, all right. But anyway, I hope you've learned something. I hope I've inspired you to at least try the technique in whichever way you want to try it, whether it's to paint over it or to see it, to see through it. A lot of, in the past, I've used bits of napkin for it to see through. This particular time I just used the paper. But literally you can use anything. So I hope this has inspired you to try something new, and I hope you have fun. And please post pictures in the group so that we can see how you have interpreted this particular process. I think that there's going to be a lot of different ways that you're all going to approach it. So thank you for putting up with me. I had fun doing this because otherwise I'd be laying on the couch blowing my brains out with my nose. This way I had to control myself a little bit. Alright, have fun, and I've already got plans for our project for March spinning around in my head. Alrighty, have fun.